Welcome to Boys in the Berg, the podcast all about Pittsburgh, these boys, and I just felt like running.
Yeah, Janai.
From the great words of Forrest Gump. My name is Chris Speranza.
My name is JJ Speranza.
And we are here to talk about the most recent event that has happened. That is the Dick's Sporting Goods Pittsburgh Marathon, if we're being specific with the sponsorship.
It's the perfect sponsorship for the perfect race. Congratulations to everybody that we know that ran in that race. That is quite the accomplishment. Good job.
So today's goals is to talk about the history of the Pittsburgh Marathon, how it got started, everything like that, and also how JJ himself has competed in a marathon as well in North Carolina, the Strawberry Marathon.
Not quite a marathon of sorts, 5K and 10Ks, but thank you for that vote of confidence. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I'll have to ask you about just like the difference between, because I don't run, so I don't know the difference between the 5K, 10K, what a marathon is, and everything like that. But
you know me, I have the background.
You do. But before we get started, just typical housekeeping. You can follow us at Boys in the Berg on Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can also listen to us on Spotify. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and also on YouTube. And that'll actually lead to a funny thing I gotta tell you. So, real quick, other things. Hopefully everyone is safe from the Pittsburgh storms. That was absolutely terrible. Hopefully everyone's got their power back on so they can listen to us. And
priorities.
And also, I think I'm going to put this in the show notes because of the funding being cut from WQED and our best friend Rick Seebeck. We are going to put a link in our show notes of how you can actually go to their website and donate to WQED and give donations. And finally, the last funny thing I wanted to tell you, JJ. So, before we get into the episode, I put on our YouTube channel the recent episode, which is the Kennywood Memories, a Rick Seebeck film. And I was noticing that the clicks for that episode was like really high. Like a really high number. And I was like, whoa, we're actually like getting listens and everything. This is great. But then I started noticing people would listen to it for like 10 seconds and then would be done, because I realized I made people think, because I didn't say like a podcast episode. I just put on there Kennywood Memories, a Rick Seebeck film.
Oh, no. And people were like, oh, another podcaster breaking it down.
So everyone's just like, oh, sweet. Because it's not on YouTube. It's only on the WQED or PBS website. So everybody who clicked on it was just like, what is this?
Who are these boys, and why do they think they're Rick Seebeck?
So that was, for people, I'm sorry, but not sorry at the same time until YouTube tells me to change it.
Oh, man, that is really funny. I'm really happy you saved that. I know I've done that plenty of times where I'm like looking up, Pennsylvania drivers, drive-ins, dine-ins, all that good stuff. And it's like some guy like, yeah, this is what I think. And I'm like, oh man, that's not what I want to listen to.
Okay. What's worse? Clicking onto it and seeing the little audio thing that I have where you're just listening to it? Or is it worse when you turn it on and someone's just like staring into like their computer camera screen, like pausing for like 3 seconds before the video starts, is like, I'm here to talk about the Rick Seebeck film. Like, what's worse?
That is 100 times worse. This is the cringeworthy of it. Oh, it's so bad.
So, people, like I said, sorry, not sorry at the same time. Anywho, Dick's Sporting Goods and the Pittsburgh Marathon. So, I'm actually really interested to hear how historical this is, because I know about the Boston Marathon, where that's a hugely historical. Marathons are just marathons and 5Ks and everything. They're just something that happens everywhere. Like even Disney World does it. They have a Disney World 5K, even though they make people pay for their park tickets anyways just to run. But it's still something that's fun. But yes, the history.
Yeah. So before we go into that, I just want to let you know, Chris, that how these races are broken down is a full marathon is 26.2 miles long.
What?
That is how long these racers, that's how long they ran and jogged and walked for. And they had to keep a pace, a good pace. A typical like pace would be like maybe 11 minutes per mile, and that's 26.2 miles.
Where were they running from? The Squirrel Hill Tunnel to downtown? Like,
Well, I'm glad you asked that.
how can you get
So,
26 miles?
if you look at, we're going to post this on our website too. Here's the map of what they ran.
Oh my God.
So they went from downtown to the North Shore, to the South Side, to Oakland, through Shadyside, up to Homewood, over to Highland Park, down to Bloomfield, past the Strip District, and ending back in downtown.
See, the other story I was going to tell you was I was working at Yinzer's in the Berg in the Strip District twice during this marathon. And the way I would get to work from Irwin is I forget how I did it, but I got off at the Edgewood Swissvale exit, and I found a real fancy way that took me through like Lawrenceville and everything else.
Ooh.
Yeah, East Liberty to Lawrenceville, and then I was able to just kind of like sneak in to my parking spot that I usually park at. But everything's blocked. Everything.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if you think about, there were 3,000 people racing. So like 3,000 people spread across 26.2 miles. And I know that there was also like a half marathon. There was a couple other races going on, but like that's a lot of roads to close down.
You know my importance of parking. Where do all the racers even park?
I would assume the parking garages in downtown, because it started and ended in downtown this time.
Now, where was the start again? Like, exactly?
That I didn't get a good grasp on. I think it's like, looks like it starts on the Boulevard of the Allies, close to like Point State Park.
Okay.
Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. It ends there. It ends at Point State Park,
That's
but
nice.
it started on Liberty Avenue.
Okay, I gotcha. So, okay, yeah. But I guess all the racers, they are getting there at like 3 in the morning to get their race started. Because when's the race officially start? Like 9 a.m.? Not 9 a.m. I feel like 8 a.m. or something like that.
Usually the races start around 7 or 8 in the morning. So that way you have enough time for like, to get there, park, get stretched out. Typically they do pickup for the bibs, which is like the numbers you always see them wearing.
Yeah.
That pickup is usually the day before or the morning of, but like super early, like 5:30, 6:30 in the morning.
That is true. They could get a hotel the night before and get picked up and dropped off there. Because I have watched vlogs of people that do the Disney World 5K, and that's what they do. They go from the hotel, they have a specific bus that takes them to the registration, and once they're registered, they go off in waves. But it seems, I don't know if Pittsburgh does the same thing, like go off in waves, or if they're just one big clump of people.
That I don't know. I was planning on running this race back in 2019 or 2020. 2021, I got COVID, unfortunately, and my lungs got all jacked up, and I wasn't able to do it. So I trained. How you typically train is just there's a bunch of apps you can download. There's a bunch of different ways to get ready for these races. I'm very fortunate that I was recently able to do a 10K last December, and then we recently did a 5K. And just so you know, a 5K is 3.1 miles, and a 10K is 6.2 miles.
And just to let people know, this is in North Carolina, not Pittsburgh. So when he says December, that's different. It's warmer.
I mean, it was 20 degrees when we started the race.
Oh, geez, never mind.
I had icicles on my beard. But there is a big difference, though, Chris, and that is that when you think of Pittsburgh, they were running all over Pittsburgh, which is very hilly. You got to be ready for those hills and those bridges and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
North Carolina's flat. Well, this side of North Carolina, Eastern Carolina is very flat. So very big difference in the type of racing.
Yeah, and that's a great point. They gotta, thank goodness they're not just like, you go from the Strip District and you go up Mount Washington and
you gotta run the stairs.
You gotta run up the incline. You gotta run next to it. The bushy area that they say don't throw stuff into it. Yeah, you got to run up that now.
And you got to pick up the trash while you're up there.
But no, that's really interesting because you got to get ready for the elements too.
Exactly. I know a friend of ours that we met who is a big fan of running these races. She told us that she's running sunshine, snow, rain. They run it no matter what. So unless there's like a tornado or hurricane or something, but all weather, you're running it. And it looked like this past weekend they had really good weather for the marathon, and that was great to see, especially after that big storm that hit.
And for her, just she runs rain, snow, sunny. Like me, I started like exercising a little bit, and I live on a big hill. And so I figured what a way to expedite like my cardio than going up that hill. But like I did it all last week, and now I've gone a little bit lazy this week because I was like, oh, the storms came through. I don't know.
It's Monday. The week hasn't started.
It's raining. No, this is what I was thinking last week.
Oh, okay.
And so I got to get back on that pony. But I consider myself, when I cut my grass, I consider that like cardio, not marathon cardio, but it's cardio.
It is. Your hill in your yard is insane, so I don't blame you for doing that.
Yeah, there are times where I'm cutting the grass and I could look at my house from the bottom of the hill and I just go, crap, I'm not even close.
Get a pair of cleats for that yard.
I know, which I haven't done yet, so I just slip and slide the whole time.
Do you want to hear Pittsburgh history first, or do you want to hear marathon history first?
Let's do marathon and work our way to Pittsburgh.
I like it. Oh, and just sorry, someone is doing their yard work right in front of our window, so I apologize if you guys hear anything out there.
That'll be it.
Okay. A half marathon, just so y'all know, is 13.1 miles. So, it kind of keeps breaking down like that. But marathon started in the Olympics 120 years ago, and the first one was in 1896. And I got this from the Association of International Marathons and Distant Racers and Wikipedia.
So in 1896, like 1895, they were running around and just saying, oh, this could be a sport.
Well, ironically enough, races before the official marathon were either less than 5K or more than like 26 miles. Like it varied all over the place. There was no way to actually judge it because it started in 776 BC until 261 AD, and then it kind of drifted off for a little bit whenever it came back again in 1896. So bunch of years going on there where marathons were a thing in like ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, all this. There's a crazy story behind where marathons come from.
And everything is in metrics, which is why I was like 5K, 10K, and then America decided, nope. Like, did you watch that Saturday Night Live skit with the one comedian where he was pretending to be George Washington, and they're like, sir, what will we call a foot? I don't know, like 6 inches or something. Like with the driest delivery. You should watch it sometime. It's very fun.
I didn't see that one, but I know the joke like Americans will measure in anything in everything except for the metric system.
And also how Fahrenheit and Celsius.
Yeah, don't forget Kelvin.
Oh, and Kelvin, that's right.
Which is the scientific measurements. So many. But yeah, lots of stories from Egyptians, Romans, Greeks. So in 1896, the marathon as we know it today was created by a French man named Michael Briel. He was inspired by ancient Greece stories. The distance did not become standardized until 1921. So they didn't actually have a standardized 26.2 miles until 1921. Do you want to know who the record holder is and what we said 26.2 miles, right? That's how long a marathon is.
Yeah.
The record holder was done for men in October 8th, 2023 at the Chicago Marathon. A man named Kelvin Kipton from Kenya ran 26.2 miles in 2 hours and 35 seconds.
Is that impressive? I don't know.
Well, break it down. What's 20? Well, I won't do the math, but it's very impressive. It is like insanely impressive.
Okay, it's impressive. I don't know. Like I don't run marathons. I'm happy for him. I thought it was Forrest Gump. I thought he's the one that set the record.
Let's see.
Thought Tom Hanks set the record there.
I didn't write down what his mileage was, but like it typically takes about like 4 to 6 hours to run a marathon for a regular human.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
That's yeah, that's pretty quick. I used to be really quick at the mile run when I was in middle school. I swear to God, I think I did a mile run in under 7 minutes.
In middle school?
In middle school.
Yeah, because you got a little certificate, didn't you? Trafford High School's like shining boy Chris.
Yeah, I was the Marine fitness test winner. I did the most push-ups, most sit-ups. Ran a mile in under 7 minutes. I did all the fun stuff. I was very athletic back then.
Then he discovered beer.
Then we all discovered beer.
Like a good Yinzer. Now I need to say this too, because it wouldn't be fair if I didn't say this. The women's women's champion, I guess, that ran on her side, also Chicago Marathon, October 13th, 2024. It was the year after Kelvin had set his pace. Ruth Chepniknish. I do not know how to pronounce her name. Ruth is her first name.
Okay, that's fine.
She ran it in 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 56 seconds.
So have we reached peak athleticism in the year 2023, 2024, like in the 2020s?
I don't know, because I would assume that around that time, that was like right after COVID was like petering off. So how are these people finding the time to do this stuff?
Like, who do you think is more athletic in their prime? You think it's like Deion Sanders or Walter Payton or Saquon Barkley?
Oh man, I don't know if you can compare.
I think Saquon. The point I'm getting to is I think this generation is super athletic, and it's just because of all the technology and all. You wouldn't think technology would have stuff to do with it, but sometimes the way Rocky did it is not the same way as Drago did it. Sometimes Drago's got to win.
That's true. You're right.
That's a deep Rocky 4 reference.
That was a deep cut, dude.
Because you remember the movie, Drago's doing he's like doing all the press machines, and Rocky's like cutting wood and running through the snow. I'm not going to go through the whole description of the movie.
Well, that's a really good point. I don't know how people typically train for these things. I know a lot of my friends who run marathons, they use treadmills and they like use the apps to keep track of things. I like to go outside because it's always sunny down here. It only rains every so often. So I love running outside and just being in the sunshine. And that's, you just kind of got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and Drago was on steroids too. So
yeah, he was.
People who take steroids aren't winners.
Coming back to old Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you were right. Dick's Sporting Goods did sponsor the race this year. They've been sponsoring it since 2009 is when they took over.
That makes sense. Did they say who the previous sponsor was, or no?
Yeah, it was. Let's see, where is it? So UPMC took over as the sponsor in 1996.
That makes sense.
Giant Eagle was the sponsor before that, and before that there was a couple off ones, but I want to say the Pittsburgh Steel Company, the steel workers. There was something with them that they did it for a while too.
What kind of deep Yinzer stuff is this? Like Dick's Sporting Goods, John Eagle sponsored it. Who else did you say? King's Restaurant, like
yeah, Eaton Park,
UPMC. Okay, UPMC. They're like, as long as Highmark doesn't sponsor it.
Oh, here it is. U.S. Steel and PNC Bank were the initial people that started this marathon or started sponsoring them when it first started on May 5th, 1985.
That's interesting. And I have to say this. I took a picture of this. Dick's Sporting Goods, what's that say? The Dick's Sporting Goods Pittsburgh Marathon Facebook page. I didn't know if it was the Dick's Sporting Goods Facebook page or their marathon page or whatever. But here's what they posted online. You ready to get emotional?
Yes.
He said, somewhere between, this is after the race is over, somewhere between the start and finish line, something changes. It's not just about the run anymore. It's about every early morning, every doubt, every reason you almost gave up. It's about the strangers who cheer like you've known you excuse me. It's about the strangers who cheer like they've known you forever, the city streets that carry your story, and the moment your legs want to quit but your heart says not yet. Every runner has a reason why, and today we saw every single one come to life. Thank you, Pittsburgh.
That's amazing.
Is that how you feel during your 5Ks or 10Ks?
That's how I felt during the 10K. But so a 10K is 6.2 miles. A full marathon is 26.2 miles. Could you imagine, Chris, doing that? 20 more miles past 6. Like I was struggling at 6 miles. These people put their blood, sweat, and tears into these marathons.
Yeah, my legs would have completely gave out. I at like mile point 0.7.
Point 0.7. Wow, that was from Dick's Sporting Goods posted that?
I don't know. I don't know if it was Dick's Sporting Goods or like the official like Pittsburgh Marathon page.
Oh, okay.
Let me show you. That's the picture right there. If you look at the top.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I imagine it's the official page. So I was going to ask you. So you were trying to prepare to run for the Dick's Sporting Goods Marathon, since we know the sponsorship was from 2009 to now. So now we know. What was your preparations like? What were you planning on doing before the good old COVID got you?
I had no idea what I was doing. I was so new to the running game. I was just going out there and running for as long as I could. And so, just for reference to the race was canceled in 2020, and they made a virtual race in 2021. And I don't think they made the decision to go totally virtual until later on in the year for the, or later on in the like planning for it. So at that time, I was totally ready 2021 to get my butt down to Pittsburgh and run this marathon. And it didn't work out. Before I could even really get into the training of it, I got COVID, and I, went down that bit of a rabbit hole, as one does when they get COVID. So, but the plan moving forward, now that I'm out of that, I'm getting used to running more, is to do like a morning run and an afternoon run, and to try and get your daily totals to like at least hit 10 miles a day.
Because if you're doing a marathon, I know when I was like pretending to want to run a 10K, you want to run past that. Like you want to run, how they say, like 6 miles during your training. You want to go past that, like go 7 miles. Or if it's like a 5K, if it's 3 miles, you want to run 4 miles.
Well, yeah, and there's different days. Like there are some days that are long running days where you'll run 7 miles, you'll jog 6 miles. There are some days that are more about endurance, so you do sprints and get your body like ready to. You're only going to do like an hour's worth of a workout. Some days it's all about stretching. Some days it's all about weight training because you want to make sure your whole body is toned and ready for that. So, I would say maybe once or twice, maybe twice a week, you will do a long run like that, but it doesn't happen all the time. So I want you to think of that. Like you're getting your body ready for that distance, but you're also getting your body ready for the fatigue that comes with it. So you have to strengthen it to get there.
Were you worried about doing the marathon and like a golf cart coming to pick you up and be like, "You're done, son"?
Petrified. Yeah. Petrified. During the 10K, I was like, "There's no way I'm going to finish this thing. I'm only at 4 miles in, and I feel like I'm going to throw up. This is ridiculous." I ran up to grab a little cup of water, and they were just like, "Here you go, sir." I went, I couldn't even say thank you.
So, what was your preparation for? Well, now, what was the race in particular? You said it was called the Strawberry Race.
Okay, so for reference,
I said it was called the Strawberry Race.
For reference, this past weekend, Katie and I did a 5K, which is only like 3 miles. But it's the 5K Strawberry Festival 5K. So that was just a fun little like go onto the street. It's just literally a straightaway mile and a half down, mile and a half back. We just walked it. It was just something fun to do. But and it was really fun. I think we're gonna do a lot more of those because it was fun to walk those. What I did back in December was running the 10K, which is it was the Wilmington historical downtown race.
Oh, that's fun. At least you get like a view. And also, speaking of virtual races, remember when you and I, when you were trying to get me into running, we were talking about, oh, Disney does a virtual race.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
And if you do the virtual race, you get a medal of, whatever the race is at that time. And then you and I saw that it costs like $150 to $200 just to walk in your own neighborhood.
Yeah. That's crazy. This now the 5K costs like $40. The 10K I got a discount because I like signed up early and that was like 60. Typically it's around 80. So the bigger the marathon, I mean, because that is going towards, yeah, your medal, your shirt, but it's also going toward the police officers closing down the roads, the people handing you water, the volunteers. Like it all goes toward all the people that are like there to be there with you.
Now, where was the strawberry? It was very silly.
What was the strawberry?
The strawberry. Where was that located?
It's in Wallace, which is just north of Burgaw, which is just north of Wilmington. So about like 30 miles. Yeah, about 30 miles away from Wilmington, like northwest.
Oh, you had a long drive as it was. Did you stay at like a hotel overnight, or did you drive down there at like 3 in the morning?
No, I mean 30 miles is like 30 minutes for down here.
Oh, so this wasn't like a super serious race. Like you weren't competing. You were just
No. This was a very like maybe 300 people went, and then we all went to the festival afterwards and ate turkey legs and ribs and kettle corn and stuff.
see in Disney. I know I keep bringing this up, but
gosh.
for the people that race
You
there,
guys know Chris likes Disney.
for the people that race there, they have Epcot for like the rest of the night. I think for like the last couple hours or so.
Well, yeah. So Disney and Pittsburgh and people who do the full marathons, that's a really big deal. That's a year-long commitment. You're doing like 10 to 12 months of preparation for that race. A 5K is just a fun little thing to do. Like you just get out there and walk. It's a huge accomplishment for those who don't do it that often.
I was
So
say that'd be
like,
a huge accomplishment for me. Like I'm just like 3 miles. Like I do a treadmill for about a mile and a half, and I'm like, yep, I'm bored.
and there's nothing wrong with that. I think, no matter which way you look at it, if you are getting active and doing something, God bless you. That is what you should be doing. And if it's a 5K, you're doing 3.5 miles or 3.1 miles, all the more power to you. That's amazing. I'm a crazy person that likes to push myself to the point of exhaustion. So I'm trying to do half marathons this year. I'm trying to do that crazy stuff. But not everyone likes to do that. And that's totally fine.
I think if I had like a view while I was running, I think that'd be a different story. Like I know, like on a treadmill and Planet Fitness, and there's every single person on planet Earth at like 6 p.m. goes there, and you're just like, I just want to leave. I don't want to do anything else here. I just want to leave. So honestly, that's why I started working out at home when I feel like it. But that's why I work out at home. Like I got maybe 2 or 3 sets of dumbbells. I got resistance bands, and I got a big hill to walk up. So I think that's all perfect.
It is. You just like you said, you have to have that motivation when you're at home and you have all your comfortable surroundings around you to say, you know what? I'm going to put my phone down. I'm going to turn off this TV. I'm going to go work out.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
You need to make a dedicated room in your house to make it a gym. And when I lived in an apartment, which you can relate to this because you live in an apartment that has a gym right there too, it was much easier to do that because I would wake up at that time, 5 in the morning, go right to the gym, right across the street, do what I had to do for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't like to work out long. I like to just do what I got to do. And then just go right back to the apartment and be fine because you're in a different environment.
That's so true. That is amazing that like you had that, and I hope you continue moving forward with like trying to do more stuff like that. even being at home. But that is why I love being outside because, okay, if you run a mile, you got to come back, you got to map it out eventually. And you don't have a choice if you're a mile out and you're like, oh crap, I got to get back now. You kind of, you force yourself to go, all right, well, I'm not just going to walk this. I want to do something more. I want to sweat, you know?
That's like when I would go on bike trails and Lynch Field in Greensburg, there's a bike trail, or even when we did bike trails in Boy Scouts, when we did that, one way you would go, I would be like, oh, we're going really far. Well, let me get to the next checkpoint. Let me get to the next checkpoint. Even when I lived, my apartment, I was spoiled in Carmel, Indiana. Like there was a bike trail that connected in the apartment complex to like the main bike trail as well and running trail, which is called the Monon Trail, and it's amazing. And I was very spoiled with that. Fun fact: I went rollerblading on that one time. That didn't go well.
But you're lucky because where you're at right now, if you go down your street to Manor, go through the stop sign, past the gas station, there's a park right on the other side there. You can ride your bike there, you can drive there and run. Like I feel personally, I have to get away from the house and run somewhere. Like up down here, I drive to work about an hour, and the path I run goes through like a swamp area, so you get to see like the sunrise over the swamp. There's a whole like garden area that has all this marine stuff because I work really close to Camp Lejeune. So like getting away from the house and going somewhere helps big time because you get that mentality of like, well, I'm here, I made the commitment, I got to go do something.
So, do other people run on that trail also?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, what you need to do is you need to paint your face green. And whenever people go by, just go, get off my swamp!
Oh my God. I will keep that in mind. I appreciate that.
Then I'll come up from behind on all fours and go, oh, Shrek!
Now, I will say there are so many more people who are more prepared. What's one way to say this? I'm new to the game. There are so many people who have been doing this for years and could tell you so much better information than I can. But I just really enjoy it, and I think that if you enjoy being outside and walking, running, jogging, doing anything outside, it's a really fun way to go experience things.
Now, how did you feel after the strawberry race? Like, did you feel good, or was it like one of those deals where the next morning you were like, okay, I'm not going anywhere today? Or, how did you feel?
Yeah, so the strawberry race we walked. So referring to the Wilmington race in downtown, where I actually ran the 6 miles,
Mm-hmm.
that is where got through the finish line, collapsed onto the ground, took a few deep breaths, and I went and got my free beer. I got a nice smooth porter from Wilmington Brewing Company because I guess you get like free beer afterwards. But no, like I came home and I slept. It was exhausting, dude. It was 6 miles, but that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot of miles.
That might be something. If there is free beer at the end, I might actually commit myself to to doing something, even though I could just go get like a sample somewhere. Just go to a bar and be like, "What's this beer taste like?" and then just leave. But like,
I will say that I'm very, I don't want to say cheap, but I'm weird with how I do things. So I had my coupons from the race for the 2 free beers. I got a free smoothie from Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and then I had like 3 apps that had free food on it. So I went home and like had a little, had a little gourmet meal for myself.
so if someone's planning on, I know we can't really give advice for the Dick's Sporting Goods Pittsburgh Marathon, but if you were to give someone advice on what to do, like what's one piece of information?
Stretch. Stretching is so essential. Stretch out before, stretch out after. Get your mindset right. Like, just know, like, if you're out there doing it, do it. Like, don't just go, well, I'm just gonna half-ass it because I'm gonna do it to be healthy, but I don't really care. Like, well, if you're gonna do it, do it. Like, don't waste your own time. Like, get out there and make a difference for yourself, not for anyone else. Don't be doing it because someone told you might be healthy. Do it because you want to do it.
Now, what's your eating habits going into it?
Light, very light in the morning. Like if you get maybe a banana, something that'll like be easy on your stomach, and then get yourself a nice meal afterwards. Like nothing crazy, like not like a giant fried fish platter, but like get yourself a good like nutrient dense meal, like salad, fruit, sandwich with some veggies on it, veggies, meats, like replenish yourself.
Now, tell me if this is a good smoothie. So, in the morning, and I've been doing this every single morning for like 2 years now, almost 3 years, it would be one ice cube, two or three frozen strawberries, a whole banana, maybe like 2 scoops of Greek yogurt, and I've been using chocolate almond milk now. I was using vanilla, but I got bored with it, so I switched to chocolate, and I just blend all that up.
I think that's great. I would definitely try and switch back to like maybe an unflavored, something lower in sugar, because chocolate is a little bit higher in sugar, which isn't a bad thing. Like especially if you are trying to put on weight, that's not a bad thing. I would even add like chia seeds or flax seeds or something that has some omegas in it to help buff that up. If you add like a little scoop of protein, that would help too. With you can still do it with the yogurt as well. Um, Even a scoop of peanut butter would help too. I don't know about you. I don't know how you feel about this, but I always add a little bit of spinach or kale to mine.
So I kind of got bored with the peanut butter, and it kind of made it a little too creamy. So, and spinach doesn't add flavor for me, which is nice. It just makes it look healthy. So it will be green. Not when you mix it with chocolate almond milk. It kind of looks like diarrhea. but but like with vanilla almond milk, you actually get like a nice green color to it.
Yeah, and that's the big thing you want to look for is sugar and salt, and that's in everything you do. Sugar and salt are the big things. Smoothies in particular, sugar. So like, I mean, if you have a pretty decent diet through the day, if you're getting some like nutrient dense foods, if you're getting a good mix of different foods, you don't have to really focus too hard on the chocolate almond milk because it tastes good. I drink chocolate almond milk sometimes. It's great stuff.
Yeah. So, what was the point I was getting to? If I had that smoothie the morning of a race, is that fine?
Yeah, I wouldn't drink it all at one time. I'd probably make it and then drink it over like the course of an hour, so that way your body has time to digest it.
Have you heard the story about when I did my tryout for uh, pro wrestling, and what I did was I wanted something in my stomach. This was before my tryout where you had to do a bunch of push-ups, bunch of sit-ups, you had to run a lot. I was like, I need something in my stomach. So I drink a muscle milk
Oh,
before doing that, and I threw up
I bet you did.
like an hour in, and they're like, do you want to quit? I was like, no, and I rolled back in like with my vomit
Oh
just all over
god.
me. It wasn't all over me, that was being dramatic. But yeah, I just rolled back into the ring, and I was just like, I'm just gonna do it, and just kept going, and look at me now, 10 years later.
I can say I have a throwing up story from football when I played football. When I was at a football camp, ate a big old thing of spaghetti for lunch because I had no self control when I was a kid, and threw every last noodle up.
Who does that? Just like, oh man, I'm about to go to football camp, might as well have some spaghetti.
Well, no, because that's what it was 3 days. You had a morning practice, an afternoon, and an evening walkthrough. So for lunch, they would serve like something. It was usually like pizza or something carbohydrate dense. And man, I was like, I still have issues with it. It's a big thing for me. I like, for as active as I am, I still am a bigger person because I struggle with self control when it comes to eating. And when I was a kid, I had no self control. Like I was unaware of all of that. That's why I was such a big, chunky kid because I would just eat everything. And I would eat like 2 bowls of spaghetti, not think anything of it, go running and puke.
And also, I don't think we really got into it. So, what's the Pittsburgh history of the marathon? If
Oh, yeah. So
we
going
go
back to
way,
Pittsburgh.
we go way back. I'm like, wow, what a transition. Go from throwing up to Pittsburgh.
Luckily, it's not too much more. Not too much more. As we said, U.S. Steel and PNC Bank were sponsors. The inaugural race was May 5th, 1985.
That's
Uh,
recent. It feels like.
I know, right? I mean, it's been what, 80s, 90s,
50 years.
40.
40.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 40 years. Right? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the UPMC took over in 1996, replacing Giant Eagle. There was no marathon from 2004 to 2008 due to the city of Pittsburgh having no funding for it.
Mm.
UPMC dropped off. They weren't sponsoring anymore, and the city of Pittsburgh couldn't afford to hold the event.
That's interesting because it's such a traditional thing now.
Yeah, but remember what was happening in 2004 to 2008? All that, the housing crisis was happening, and all this different stuff was happening with the financial world.
Yeah, still recovering from 9/11 if we're being honest, like
Yeah,
all
fall
that
from
even 3 years later, then that housing crisis, that was another cherry on top. I'm tired of living through history.
Yeah, right? Why can't we have boring days?
I know. Why can't we just have a boring day?
Oh man, but yeah, that's so. In 2008 was the last time they stopped doing it. Well, before COVID, Dick's Sporting Goods took over in 2009. They didn't race in 2020, 21. They're back at it now. There is a Pittsburgh Marathon Hall of Fame.
Who's in it?
We have Tom Abbott, who, through his illustrious history, has run over 116,000 miles over 54 years.
Mm-hmm.
We have Jim Hamilton, who coaches cross country at West Allegheny.
Yeah, because these are all normal people too. Like, it's not like, I mean, yes, they got freakish ability to run for a very long time, but like, yeah, these are like people that are just like, substitute teachers or, whatever else. Yeah. People, I don't know why substitute teacher comes to mind. Just like, come on, teach, you got this. You know what I mean?
Well, then, ironically enough, Timothy Hewitt, the last person on, there's only 3 people in the Hall of Fame, but he has ran every race since 1985, and he's a very well-known lawyer in Pittsburgh. So, like, yeah, just regular everyday people that are just like out there trying to make a difference for themselves.
That's good. That's good. And yeah, no, that's really good that they do that. I hope to at least run a 5K one day and feel a little bit accomplished. So
I will drive to Pittsburgh and run one with you. The 5Ks are over in a second. If you want to, once you get into the 5Ks, you're going to be hooked, and you're going to be like, okay, I want to do a 10K now. Okay, I want to do a half marathon now.
And I was trying to think of other stuff that happens around the area. How you have your little strawberry festival. I know one thing they do in Greensburg is kind of like a 5K, but not really. Is walk a mile in her shoes, which is for domestic violence. So what everyone does is they put on high heels and they have to walk a mile or run. I don't know if they want to try and do that, but it's a pretty good cause.
That's awesome. That's a really great cause.
Yeah, I wanted to do it. I feel like that would suck really bad, but I think that's the point.
Exactly. No, it's a very good point. Like, it's a good cause, and you're out there being active. It's a win-win.
Now here's the next and maybe final question, unless you got something else to add. When's your next race?
Right now, the next one is going to be in December again for the historic 10K. And I was going to do a half marathon, but I want to try and increase my PR first and see if I can get the miles down better. So that way, when I do the half marathon, I actually will be a contender for it, not just piddling in the back oh, I almost got this. Now, the Strawberry Festival is a newer thing.
I love this Strawberry Festival. I will just keep...
I know, you were banging on this thing.
You got a medal that had a strawberry on it.
Yeah, we did. It's a newer thing, and it is a lot of fun, but like I said, it's just something for fun with those 5Ks. There's a Blueberry Fest 5K. There's a sledgehammer run that they do on the beach. There's a whole bunch of different 5Ks that are done around the area. I would suggest starting out with those, getting a feel for what a race feels like, and then from there, working forward.
This is the Blueberry Festival, and this is the Strawberry Festival, and this is the Snozberry Festival.
And you all get medals
that have fruits with human faces on it.
Do you wish you had one of those, Chris?
when I graduated college, I had like a bunch of medals from like different honor societies that I was in. Sometimes it would feel good.
Wow, big good flex, Chris.
Yeah, but sometimes they're useless now. But because you had to like sign up to be in their club or whatever. But I'm just like, that would be nice to have a medal. Like something's nice about having a medal.
Yeah, and you know what, Chris? You just said it. Like a lot of these medals you get because you signed up for it. Like you didn't really have to do too much. You just literally signed up and they sent you one because you're like a part of their crew now. The medals for races, you earn those. You go out there and you earn those with your feet and with your fortitude. So keep that in mind. That's like an accomplishment.
Yeah. No, that's yeah, that's something. Who knows? Maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll find a fruit themed festival somewhere around here.
You know why they do those down here, right?
What?
Because the climate down here allows us to grow a ton of blueberries and strawberries.
You know what? In my yard, I have a blueberry bush and I have an apple tree.
Do you really?
Planted by the previous owner, so don't give me credit. But yeah, I have a blueberry bush, so yeah, I can grow fruit too.
Well, there you go. Well, you know what? Just run around your bush 100 times.
I did it.
I'm totally off topic. I'm actually growing zucchini right now, and it's growing pretty well, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, zucchini's very fun to grow. Do you have you live in an apartment? Do you have like a community garden?
No, I just have this little pot that they haven't yelled at me yet for keeping it outside of my porch, but I just keep it outside my porch so it gets sunshine, and until they yell at me, I'm going to keep it there.
Yeah, you should have like a spices thing too. You know, grow
Oh,
grow your own spices.
I should. I really want to grow rosemary and oregano.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And then you don't have to like go to the grocery store to do that. You could just go straight up just right in your back porch and just grab one and just put it on your food.
You know what? I may look into some the hangers that go on the railings. I hear those are really cool for growing spices.
Yeah. Anywho, any last things about races?
Yeah, no, I know that we talked a lot about like the fun races down here, but all I can say is I'm new to it. I'm learning about more about it every day. Some days it's easy to run, some days it's hard. Some days you have to really convince yourself, and some days you just like, you know what, I'm going to sprint 2 miles, and I'm going to be totally fine. And I have heard, I love this quote that progress is not linear. It's not just going to be a straight arrow straight up. You're not just going to get better and better every day. You're going to have bad days and good days, but you're going to feel so much better if you do it.
I've heard that quote before. Is that from like Scrubs or something?
No, oh, I forget where it's from. It was some type. I forget who said it. We'll put it somewhere. But well, I think I told you that quote actually.
Yeah, because there were like days when I was working out for that 1 week. There were there were days where I was just like, oh, this day is exhausting. So yeah, I think the one thing is consistency. Like us with this podcast, we are staying consistent and putting out episodes every single Wednesday.
And you know, as important as being healthy is, it is so much more. It's equally as important to support your local communities that make all this possible. And a lot of these 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons, half marathons, they are all run by volunteers. And what's also run by volunteers and by people who are on staff as well is WQED and PBS. Please consider donating to them. They are wonderful groups. They have kids programming. Mr. Rogers was born from that. All of Rick Seebeck's documentaries. We're gonna keep breaking them down, but seriously, guys, it's so important to put donations toward them as well.
Yep, absolutely. And so, yeah, I mean, that's all I have about running. You took the words out of my mouth about WQED and, catch Kennywood Memories on YouTube, not the one you're looking for.
That's amazing. That was the best thing.
But yeah, I already said everything all in the beginning already. So, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. So I've been Chris.
I've been JJ. And by the way, I am a dietetic technician registered. So the things I'm talking about, I know a little bit thing about it. So I just want to throw that out there.
Next episode is about Pittsburgh food dishes, breaking it down by JJ.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
I don't know when, but it'll be an episode. But we'll see Yins real soon.